Dillon Brooks predicts for the 4,000th time that he could stop LeBron James. The Rams hope to extend their season by extending Carson Wentz's career. And the Clippers are ready to welcome back Josh Primo and his penis. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos Morning Report. So it is November 8th, 2023. Lovely day. Looking forward to getting some fresh air. In the meantime, if you'd like being in the know about LA sports, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that to let you know we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. By all means, comment. There's always good stuff to talk about when it's LA sports. So before we go through the news and notes, a look at the scoreboard. There weren't any games involving LA teams yesterday, but tonight, Lakers at Houston at 5 o'clock. Rui Hachimura is probable to return tonight. Anthony Davis and Jackson Hayes are questionable. What's the difference between probable and questionable? Damned if I know. We'll talk more about the game in just a moment. Clippers are at Brooklyn at 4:30. Mason Plumlee has a sprained medial collateral ligament in his left knee, so he's already flown back to LA to get it checked out. PJ Tucker will likely take his spot as backup center in the road trip. Kings are at Las Vegas. This is a game I'm very much looking forward to at 7 o'clock. LA is undefeated on the road and heading to play the division leaders. Give me more of that. I'm looking forward to it, I'm telling you. So, let's get to the news. Dillon Brooks, the man who single-handedly authored the downfall of the Memphis Grizzlies by calling LeBron James old and lying every step of the way while the Lakers kicked his ass, now plays for Houston. And he is still keeping his Baghdad Bob routine. And that makes me happy because for those of you who don't know or don't recall, Baghdad Bob was the press secretary for Saddam Hussein over in Iraq. And every day when we invaded Iraq a couple of decades ago, there he was out there telling CNN that the Iraqi Republican Guard was just beating the hell out of the American military. Wow, those imperialist oppressors waving their red, white, and blue had no chance. We were just destroying them. First time, we're going to defend the Holy Land, and next thing you know, with the decimated American military, we are just going to decide to march on Washington ourselves. Meanwhile, by the way, our soldiers, they were taking selfies while sitting on Saddam's golden poopers, his solid gold toilets. Now, Brooks is still carrying up that act. He said he was, quote, ready to lock LeBron up, unquote. Are you sure that's what you mean, dude? Because the last time you tried to lock him up, the only way you could slow him down was by punching him in the nuts and getting him suspended. Remember that? I remember if I would punch somebody in the nuts. I'm sure LeBron remembers that well too. You guys still got your booties worked. Dillon Brooks has been pulling this poor man's Draymond Green act for years. And by poor man, I mean you don't even qualify for food stamps. That's how poor you are. I know this to be true because like many people struggling to get by, he blames everything on conspiracy theories. Quote, I feel like LeBron controls the media. I feel like a lot of guys have podcasts and love social media, but I don't really like it. If I didn't have to talk to you guys, I wouldn't. I'd just block it out and play basketball. Funny. That's kind of hilarious because you couldn't wait to talk about yourself and LeBron James when you were in Memphis. You can't wait to talk about LeBron James now. And then you had to talk to the disciplinary committee about punching other grown men in the testicles. Rest assured, the only reason Baghdad Dillon doesn't have a podcast is because nobody would listen to it. So, welcome back to the NBA, Baghdad Dillon. He plays for Houston now. Darvin Ham and the Lakers did do something that's not going to lead to anything. They sent clips of the game over in Miami Monday night over to the NBA offices to try and show two things. One, that they should have given LeBron some more calls, and 2, that LeBron James does not flop. Look, guys, I don't know how many times Ham has to say that as Laker coach. I do know that every coach that LeBron has ever had has had to go to the press to claim that LeBron doesn't flop. It's kind of like Buddhist chanting, right? I mean, we all like having LeBron on the team, right? We all know what he's very much capable of doing. We know the pedigree. We know he's set NBA records in Los Angeles. But let's not act like NBA players don't flop. Even LeBron is known to take the little floppy flop once in a while. But every coach has to say that he doesn't do it. It's kind of like Buddhist chanting. Om mani padme hum, Om mani padme hum. LeBron doesn't flop. Whatever. If that's what you got to say to keep LeBron happy, that's what you got to say. But I do admit that Ham does have a good point after the loss in Miami. The Heat, quote, play a physical brand of basketball. We're not complaining about how physical they are. We just want balance and consistency, unquote. Reasonable thing to say. The Rams are going to sign quarterback Carson Wentz. That sucks. Can't lie, it really sucks. It doesn't mean for sure that Matthew Stafford is out for the year, like the Rams had to put Matthew Stafford on IR when they wound up signing Baker Mayfield. After all, last year Stafford had problems in his spine, right? This is just a dinged up thumb. They still claim that Stafford will be able to play in 2 weeks, but they want a better backup just in case. But is Carson Wentz really your answer? Think about this. It's his 4th team in 4 years. Remember? And by the way, that's for a reason. And here's something else that there was a reason about too. The Rams back in 2016 traded all the way up to number 1 to get a quarterback. They had a choice. They could have either drafted Jared Goff or Carson Wentz. There was a reason that they went with Jared Goff. And again, there's a reason Carson Wentz has played for 4 teams in 4 years. And by the way, after they drafted Jared Goff, it's not like they did what every other team does. It's just, well, it was really close, came down to a coin flip. No, they were like, yeah, we weren't thinking about Carson Wentz. And now he's on the roster. So no, this sucks. This is really bad. By the way, because they signed Carson Wentz, the Rams straight up waived the guy who played for them on Sunday in Green Bay. Mark Rippon got waived after the offense only scored 3 points against the Packers. McVay also said the obvious, that the bye week is coming at the right time. No kidding. But it's not just because of turmoil at quarterback. It's not just because Matthew Stafford needs an extra week to try to be able to grip a football. McVay said it was ideal because the Rams roster is super young, which it is. They needed a break at some point. Quote, it's basically like the equivalent of them going through a full collegiate season. When you include a lot of these guys we're talking about who played 3 preseason games leading into the regular season, which were 9 games through, as we all know, unquote. In other words, the rookies are hitting the wall. Time to give them a chance to go out and, go to Magic Mountain for a day or something. That might be a pretty smart idea, all things being equal. Have the Rams gotten so young that part of the reason for their 3-game losing streak is because they've hit a wall? You tell me. But I would say this, in the meantime, from 3 weeks, the Rams went from scrappy team on the edge of the NFL playoffs to holding the number 6 pick in the draft if the season ended today. So that's a buzzkill. The Clippers and all of us, all of society, should welcome back to the NBA Josh Primo and his penis. Primo had a 2-way contract with the Clippers boosted to NBA only, so he's going to get promoted to the roster. He's a former lottery pick for San Antonio, and while he was in San Antonio, he allegedly had a hobby. It wasn't collecting stamps, it wasn't sitting there with baseball cards or anything like that. He had a hobby of exposing himself to women. in San Antonio. Remember the Alamo? Oh, I've got something for you to remember right here, pal. That was Josh Primo. They did investigations. He was suspended. They did find proof that he let little Primo out for fresh air. But, quote, Primo maintains that his conduct was not intentional, and the league did not find evidence that he engaged in any sexual or other misconduct apart from these brief exposures. Nevertheless, this behavior does not conform to league standards and warrants discipline, unquote. And this is why public relations people earn every dime. Because somehow you have to be able to write a sentence like that and not despise yourself. How do you write that sentence and not just hate yourself so much that you just start cutting? Like a pre-teenage girl who doesn't know if she's pretty enough, right? Meanwhile, Primo said he's been getting counseling and feels much better now. Welcome back to the NBA. Welcome to the Clippers. For all the sturm and drang about the USC defense, which, by the way, is obviously deserved, there is at least one positive thing on that side of the ball, courtesy of the transfer portal. ESPN listed the 10 most impactful transfers in college football, and they included USC's rush end, Jamil Muhammad. I apologize to the guy. He leads the Trojans with 6 sacks and 10 tackles for loss. Now, to be clear, he can be a little streaky. 4 of his sacks came in a 3-game stretch, for example. He is also a former quarterback, and as such, he totally appreciates the irony. Quote, going from quarterback to the guy who chases the quarterback, I guess that was just written in my story. I'm accepting it, and I'm loving it, to be honest, unquote. Have you ever noticed how the scribes will always go sympathy for the devil after they've torn somebody down or after somebody gets torn down? You've seen it in entertainment news. They'll make an unknown, a rando, look like a superstar, only to knock that person down once they achieve a modicum of fame. Well, the opposite is true. They will tear somebody limb from limb, scapegoat somebody, and then after that person gets a ton of punishment, they'll find an excuse as to why that person sucks. They do that. I say this because somebody came out with a statistical reason why. A statistical reason why, and you're not going to believe what I'm about to say, that former Trojans defensive coordinator Alex Grinch got screwed. Do you realize how many knots you have to twist yourself into to try to justify that Alex Grinch got screwed? You heard me. There's a scribe who statistically believes that you can make a case that Alex Grinch got screwed. Now, the argument goes like this. Lincoln Riley used to run the football a lot more, which ran the clock, which kept the defense off the field. Since 2009, every year, Lincoln Riley has run a little bit less, a little bit less, a little bit less. Meanwhile, you guessed it, whatever defense, Oklahoma or SC. For the record, hell no, I don't buy that. Absolutely not. Do you remember how you would see the grades on NFL draft day? Every scribe would give the player an A. Oh my God, the future is so bright. I'm Oprah. Everybody gets a car, but no, you may not get a car, but you get an A, and you get an A, and you get an A. Yeah, I never trust that. Because CBSSports.com is already downgrading the draft class. Take a peek at the new grade for Chargers first round pick, Quentin Johnston. C-. What classes did you get a C- in back in the day, right? Chances are you know the reason why you got a C-. It's because you were terrible at it. The teacher really wanted to fail you, but you were such a jerk that she didn't want to see you anymore. So yeah, give you a C- and you could be some other teacher's problem in the next semester. That was the story of me in high school. I remember that. The writer says Johnston, out of TCU, got off to his slow start because he was 4th on the depth chart and he wasn't getting playing time. But now that he's getting playing time, because two injured wide receivers have bumped him up on the depth chart, he's still slow on the uptake. Dude was the number 2 receiver behind Keenan Allen on Monday Night Football, and he just caught 2 passes. Now, I'm not saying he's a bust, but you get an A, maybe not. Maybe not. Linebacker Eric Kendricks thinks that the Chargers' pass rush was sacked Zach Wilson 8 times. Damn, 8. 8 times on Monday night has caught the attention of the rest of the league. Quote, "It's fun to watch. Tuli Tuipulotu is the young gun that come in here, humble as ever, just ears pinned back. It's refreshing to me, and I'm sure to Khalil and Joey too. I've seen Joey Bosa from afar. I've seen Khalil Mack in my division." Remember, Kendricks used to play for the Vikings when Mack was with the Chicago Bears. "I know what those boys are capable of," unquote. So can the pass rush actually lift the Chargers back into playoff contention? You let me know what you think in the comments thread. Do you think Dillon Brooks has a shot at locking down LeBron now? Do you believe that the Rams are screwed by signing Carson Wentz? And if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corte El Queso production. Take care.